You ever done anything like this before?
Only minimum security.
Nice. The driveway's a few hundred yards up on the right.
The only thing that ever bothers me is their gibberish. When they start raving on and on.
You haven't anything to worry about. He hasn't spoken a word in 15 years.
Are there any special instructions?
Just try to understand what we're dealing with here. Don't underestimate it.
When the thing has to ever be this hard again, I'm swimming less inside your heart, inside my head. Don't tell me why you need another argument, 'cause I'm tired of backing down. I'll be sitting silent, cursing all the things you say.
Ultimate silent treatment is covert narcissism. Covert narcissism, I've heard it said, could be one of the worst types of pathological narcissism there tends to be, which I can kind of see that. And from personal experience, I can tell you, when you suffer in silence, it's a very vicious cycle, because you want to tell, but at the same time, the person who is mistreating you, you don't want to harm them, you don't want to hurt them, but they're bringing you harm. It's a very vicious cycle. Covert narcissism can be a very vicious cycle in and of itself. You know, a lot of narcissists and some cluster personality types, they like to keep that vicious cycle of narcissistic abuse going, which is idealization, devaluation, and discard. But within all of that, there's another wheel that's turning, and that is covert narcissism. Idealizing, devaluation, discarding, recruiting flying monkeys, recruiting enablers, chronic deception, triangulation, deflecting, projecting. Now, the ghosting is something that the cluster personality and or the narcissist does actually right after the discard. First is the devaluation, then it's usually the discard, and then there's the ghosting. Flying monkeys and enablers, with their help, you will be sucked back in or hoovered to supply the cluster personality and the narcissist again. And all of these tactics encourages codependent behavior. That a person has to learn how to manage their expectations. Simply put, don't expect a narcissist not to behave like a narcissist. A narcissist has a particular mindset that enables him or her to focus only on the objective of getting the narcissistic supply. So when we put all of this into context, this means that at some point during the narcissistic codependent relationship, one has to learn how to manage his or her own expectations, not only of themselves, but of the narcissist. Also, when dealing with cluster B personality types, such as, I mentioned one, narcissistic personality, antisocial personality, borderline personality, and histrionic personality. See, some people will learn that they're simply being shut out of the relationship, or they're going to feel like they're being shut out. Okay, because the narcissist, again, or the cluster B personality type, they're focused on the objective of obtaining the narcissistic supply. So one may feel quite lonely in a narcissistic codependent relationship. One may also feel like they're in a twilight zone because everything seems pretty surreal. Okay, also there may be feeling the effects of the parallel reality. You're experiencing the relationship one way and your narcissist is experiencing it in another, whereas you may feel lonely in that relationship. You may feel shut out. Okay, you may feel very distant. You may feel like issues are not being resolved. It's like you explain, or not really explain, but you will let the narcissist know that you're dissatisfied with something, or your heart is breaking, or you are disappointed in the relationship because of something she or he has said or they have done, right? But it's as if you have not said anything. So that can cause these feelings to come up. It can also reinforce if there has been trauma in your life since childhood, right? Or at childhood or during childhood. So watch out for those things. All of these things mean that you have to learn how to manage your expectations of narcissists and cluster B personality types. That does not mean you have to walk on eggshells. That does not mean that you're belittling your experiences of narcissistic codependent relationships. It just simply means that during these relationships, you're going to have to simply practice personal boundaries. Narcissistic personality often grooms their targets to think, feel, and behave a particular way in order to obtain narcissistic supply. So when a person co-signs covert narcissism, more than likely, first of all, it is unconscious. Secondly, it is because they have been fed the illusion that they are obligated to continue to keep the dark secrets of the narcissist. Okay, they feel a sense of responsibility in keeping the deep, dark, dirty secrets of their narcissist. Okay, sometimes it's several narcissists. Or cluster B personality types. You're speaking one language, your narcissist is speaking another. And it can seem like a twilight zone. Okay, it can seem pretty surreal. So when you have the shadow within the shadow of covert narcissism, this is what it looks like. Very often, resolved issues go disarray. Okay, in other words, it may seem like you're making progress resolving certain issues, but then the rug gets pulled out from up under you because your narcissist has pulled another shenanigans in order to get the narcissistic supply. But there are other times that certain issues are being ignored altogether. So some narcissists and some cluster B personality types, they will go to extremes in order to avoid resolving certain issues, because this is what gives them the narcissistic supply. So when you have that shadow within the shadow of covert narcissism, it can seem as if you are living in a twilight zone of a nightmare and experiencing parallel reality all at once. See, a lot of the times during the grooming process, there's a thing called gaslighting. So when you are being gaslit, that means you are doubting your existence. You are doubting your mind. You are doubting your sanity. Okay, you're doubting your experiences, and this is very good for the narcissist, because as long as they have you off your balance, as long as they have you off your square, they can continue to have what? Control. They can continue to dominate the relationship. But some people who have ended the relationship, or the relationship has ended with their narcissist, they can begin to see this. They start to peel back those layers, and sometimes that can seem overwhelming. This is why I suggest having a support base, having someone that you could talk to, someone who understands your plight. Because covert narcissism is no joke. Covert narcissism, when you have that type of dynamic going on within a dysfunctional relationship, can seem surreal. So it easily can be like a twilight zone. The parallel reality is when a person realizes that they're very alone in a relationship with someone else, but the other person may seem oblivious to it all. They may be very disconnected. They may seem detached. See, narcissists detach first. This is another thing to remember. If you are dealing with a covert narcissist, please understand and understand that your experiences are crazy. You are not crazy.